So, Nafsi. It's a movie. It's a movie that I have watched. It's a movie that I have watched with my 1.5 eyes. It's okay. I hate Nafsi. Yeah, I know. I'm actually pretty certain there's someone out there who would like to burn me at the stake. Yeah, buy local, support local. Acha kutushikilia, brother. Hear me out, okay? Just hear me out. I did watch the movie in the cinema, so I bought local. Have you watched the movie in cinema? Kevo? Why the rero? I am making a video on it, so I guess that counts as support to some degree. Critiquing isn't putting down local art. I don't think we can grow without, a kind of feedback that kind of tells you how well things did. That's how you genuinely grow. I don't hate the movie on any technical elements. I hate it because it's harmful. Let me explain. Before I explain why it's harmful, let's first say what it is that I enjoyed about the movie. One, the cast, they're a pretty decent cast. And also if you look at the production quality, it has the crew brought their A game. So in terms of production quality, that was good. A lot of the acting here and there I enjoyed. And that's it. And that said, here's why Nafsi for me has been the worst cinema going experience ever. I could tell early on that I'd have a problem with Nafsi, mostly because, it didn't feel interested in telling me a story per se. It felt more like it was interested in being a gossip column on Ghafla. Ghafla is still relevant, right? Like, I'm not even trying to be a troll right now. I'm just completely out of the loop. You see, Nafsi seems interested in grabbing your attention, but genuinely doesn't seem to know what to do with it once it has your attention.
You know what I am? I'm a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do with one if I caught it. I just do things.
You see, events happen in the movie that grab your attention, but we move on without ever acknowledging or addressing them, and it seems to just be a throwaway event that we're not really supposed to think about, which honestly is fairly forgiving when you're talking about, putting a bathrobe over what is already 3 jumpers. But as awkward as all of this is much more forgivable than the heavier topics that are being dealt with in Nafsi. Heavy topics are fine, and actually let's give an example around that. A movie that I personally enjoy, Old Boy. Nope, not that Old Boy. Shame on you. Give me the original. Thank you. So Old Boy has the main protagonist being locked up for seemingly no reason and is released a few years down the line, and this brings us to the main theme of the movie, which is revenge. But by the end of the movie, as all things are being tied up, we come to realize that in his path to revenge, he loses a lot more, even beyond what he had already lost. The end of Old Boy hurts. It hurts so much to see the main character lose so much after already losing so much at the beginning. It's like he's broken beyond his breaking point. And to some degree, this is similar to Nafsi. By the end of Nafsi, our main character has gone through it. And I've had several people mentioning that by the end, they were hurt. It's a bitter ending. But there is, I feel, a major difference between the two. Certainly, by the end of Old Boy, I was hurt. But my pain was acknowledged, and I could move on. But by the end of Nafsi had finished what they needed to do and they were out. Old Boy breaks up with you to your face, but Nafsi leaves you a breakup message on Facebook and waits for you to find out what a rate date that works for you. But no rush, you see it when you see it. It's your problem now. That's messed up, right? This only sets up why I think Nafsi is harmful. Also, mild spoilers ahead for Nafsi, Lion King, and The Dark Knight. You can tell from Nafsi's trailer that what you're about to watch, it's not gonna be a light story. The tone portrayed in the trailer is sad and painful, and this carries straight into the movie from the opening scenes to the final scene. This movie is talking about really horrendous and heavy acts, from manipulation, abandonment, trauma, abuse, you name it. Well, don't name it, possibly it hasn't handled everything, but still. All which are events we can all agree right here are messed up. But that's not enough. You see, when you're engaging with a story that's, taking on heavy scenes where your character is going through it, often that's not the end of the train process. Because when you're watching it, you're waiting for it to tell your story and you're like, that's messed up. Right? The right there is where the major issue for me comes into play. You see, when we engage with a story, we are allowed to share its point of view. And as the story unfolds, we ask, questions. The story does one of three things here. If it confirms, it affirms that our way of thinking is accurate. If it rejects, it challenges our way of thinking. And if it ignores, it can go in different ways, but ultimately, it gives you the freedom to discover for yourself. So every part of the story, to some degree, as we interact with it, we are subconsciously within the back of our minds, looking for the message embedded in that story. In Lion King, Scar tricks Simba into thinking that he's the reason why his father died, Mufasa. That's messed up, right? Oh, most definitely. Simba runs away, traumatized, and disappears for years. Our assumption is affirmed. Okay, how about in Dark Knight, when Batman turns everyone's phone into a sonar so that he can locate the Joker, but inadvertently makes it possible for him to spy on everyone in the town? That's kind of messed up, right? Actually, it's proven necessary, and immediately after its use, is destroyed and never used again. Our assumption is rejected or challenged. What about in Nafsi? Sexually assaulting your girlfriend after she's fallen down the stairs. No, wait, sorry, after you pushed her down the stairs. That's messed up, right? Well, let's see what the facts say. 1, she goes back to him seemingly on the same night because he apologized. Father, hold me. She doesn't report it to the police, but she does go to a doctor of camera, so... 3, she tells a friend whom I will call Flag from this point forward. If you watched it, you know why she's the Flag. We're just going with the wind. Going where the wind takes us. Oh, whatever opinion someone else says, I'm gonna go with. Flag, after receiving this phone call from her friend, seems at least be bothered after this one short phone call, which... Granted, she does say, you can come to my place and escape. But remember, the boyfriend apologized. So, can't argue with that. He apologized and you say you want to work on it. So what can I say about that? And 4, after that phone call, we never address it again. I mean, at all. Well, except one time when she comes back after a few months later and she says she left the guy, but it's such a throwaway scene and moment. I wouldn't even call it a scene. It's like 3-second moment that we don't even know why she left him. For all we know, she could have left him because he used to press toothpaste in the middle like a savage. And we will come back to that later. In case you do it, think about your life. I am calling you out, but you know what? No, it's okay. It's okay. You are a savage, but it's fine. We'll talk about it later, okay? Off of that, what conclusion are you supposed to get from this movie? And unfortunately, this isn't the only instance where they take you through a terrible, terrible experience and do not take the time to acknowledge the after effects or what it causes or just what the character goes through. It just repeatedly piles on new storylines, new plots, new traumatic events without resolving any of them. So tell me, from your own personal view, somebody who's watching this movie, who's watching that scene, a scene of sexual abuse that happens in this movie for no apparent reason other than grabbing attention, glossing over it, taking no time to deal with the after effects of such traumatic event. Tell me, isn't that incredibly harmful? That's messed up, right? Let's revisit that scene, except now, let's try to resolve it. The character in the scene, let's call her Bess, because I actually genuinely can't remember the name of the character, and I'm not about to Google it to figure it out. Let's just call her Bess for now, it works. So, Bess comes back home to her boyfriend, who she tells about this extreme experience, this extreme decision rather that she has made without informing him. And he flips out, but his response is beyond selfish. He thinks to himself, and we can see him going through this thought process of, if she can make this decision without consulting me, then I can do what I want without consulting her, and he assaults her. Dark as it is, it happens. After, Bess is seated alone in an Airbnb, a hotel room, motel room in town, we don't know. All we know is she is hurt, she is confused, and so she picks up the phone, makes a call to her friend, Flag. She just breaks down. The audio gets muted and we can hear somber music This is why I hated watching Nafsi. It repeatedly fails to care for their characters, and thus fails to care for the people who will relate with these characters, namely the audience. And by care, I mean acknowledge their pain, acknowledge the character's pain. And that's the thing. When you are talking about pain, you cannot run from it, nor can you rush it. You must sit there and face the harsh realities that are being brought about by what you're talking about. I honestly would rather not make this video, but as I walked out of this cinema, I felt bad. And oddly, no one else publicly acknowledged that. And maybe the reason why I felt so bad at the end of Nafsi is unique to me, but I felt bad because the movie repeatedly causes pain to its characters but fails to give them time to cope or to deal with what they've gone through. And thus, for us, the audience who empathize with the characters, we are repeatedly hurt, but our pain is repeatedly disregarded. And that's why I didn't like watching Nafsi. That said, don't forget to dislike the video, because who's gonna know? Don't you dare share the video, because sharing is caring and we do not care here. And please unsubscribe, because I will not apologize. That's a callback. I can take all of this off because it has all been resolved. This was too much clothing for anything in life. I have never taken off so many clothes at once, but at least the weather's cold, so I wasn't boiling in there. Later, taters, I'm gonna go undress now.